Thank you so much, first of all, Sai, for this wonderful event that you put together. With a lot of respect and with utmost humility, I would like to say Sai is also Sai Baba of the healthcare on a global basis. I think the kind of vision he has put together amazes me. I'm an international lawyer, but I did a lot of work with Vinoba Bhave. I don't know how many of you heard of Vinoba Bhave. Very few people. The 60s, he had that. He was the most saintly politician and one of the profound thinker. Very few people might remember him. But he wrote an article in 1955 saying that now we got independence. So forget about Jai Hind, talk about Jai Jagat. That's how he came up with the concept of hail the world. And that's what Sai, congratulations to you and all the team members and everybody who have been supporting you. I'm really impressed with your vision and the kind of passion with which you work. So it's been a pleasure for me to come here and talk to you. So traditionally, all of you know that whom did you go to know the future? Astrologers, right? Now you have to come to lawyers. How many days you should spend in India if you're non-resident? When should you come? When should you? All the dates are decided by lawyers and tax lawyers, right? Because if you exceed, you got some disaster consequences. Similarly, lawyers also now shape the future of law, future of life. So what, as a law firm, we do, we are international, globally, we call ourselves India-centric global law firm. So we are based out of India, but we have offices in Palo Alto, Boston, New York, Singapore. So we think that India is a great laboratory where cost of experimentation is low, but scalability is high. So you can develop a lot of models here and can export. It can be a center of gravity, particularly for technology. And the way in which we pursue our practice, we are research-based law firm, so almost 40% of the time is spent on research, academics, thought leadership. And we believe that every new technology, every new business model, every new social, political, economic development brings along with it a new strategic, legal, tax, or ethical issue. What we try to do is try to gaze into the future, particularly from 10 to 15 to 20 years from now. The reason is if you want to develop any policy framework, it takes 8-10 good years. Otherwise tsunami of technology comes and we all look around each other and try to see what to do with that. In the process, when government has to look at, they are very worried about bad actors. And they bring regulations in a hurry. And then creates a patchwork and becomes very difficult for business people to handle. So we, as a law firm, have two futurists. One is Dr. Mihir Parikh. Please give a round of applause to him. He did his PhD 30 years ago in AI. According to him, he said he didn't get a job. So he became professor, tenure professor in the US. And about 20 years ago, he joined us. So he guides us as to what are the new things that are going to happen, particularly from 10 to 20 years from now. The 50-year horizon will take 5 years. AI is present to us today. Now we have to look beyond AI. Even for skilling, we say we need to do reskilling. We say, no, we have to do the skilling for the future. So that's where the opportunity is. I think, Sai, you mentioned in your own talk as well. So if he's one of our futurists, and he'll tell you more about it. And we have another futurist, Dr. Chintan Vaishnav. He was chairman of Innovation Mission. Of course, he's at MIT and he leads our Boston office. His job relates to the last part of the last slide that I saw, balance. You saw balance in the last slide? So developing a technology or the policy framework is a very delicate and strategic task. So when you start looking at the policy, industry wants to promote industry and government is worried about bad actors. And they think everybody could be thief. Industry think everybody is saint. Truth lies somewhere in between. So you need to really balance the policies. So whatever papers we do, we try to balance it in a way that, promote industry at the same time contain bad actors. Otherwise, industry will not grow. So that is the approach we take. We have a research campus you can see in Mumbai. So every one of you most welcome. And it's only blue sky thinking center, so it's not for hard workers. It's for thinking, ideation, changing the world for the better. And if you're anything, it's a private property for public good, so we don't rent out, but we are welcoming high-level thinking and, anything that you want to. So the Nobel Prize winners and others come. So what we thought today, dovetailing into health tech, right? And what is the future of health? What is the future of health tech more so? And therefore, I thought it would be useful to share some ideas. We do not say we are astrologers, but at the same time, future is uncertain, as they say, but it's not unthinkable. So based on that premise, we try to see, let's prepare for that together. We do nothing ourselves. It's always together. And all of you, we co-create. Let's shape the world of tomorrow. So with those words, let me invite Dr. Mihir Parikh. We'll give a presentation on future of life, health takeaway.
Thank you, Nishith Bhai. Thank you, Sai Garu, Kishore Garu, Akshat, Ramadevi, the entire TALS team. This is a wonderful event. I have been to Silicon Valley event. I did not get a chance to go to San Diego event. I happened to be in New York for a talk. So thank you again for inviting me. The idea is to look at how technology is changing our world. So we started looking into AI, as Nishith Bhai mentioned that I happen to have a long association with AI. I looked at AI when we could do only 10 nodes in neural network. Today we have billions and billions of nodes. The system is still the same, but the quantification has changed quite a lot, and which has enabled a lot of commercial applications. So let's look at how those technologies are affecting life. When we think about life, let's look at circles of care. The most important circle is wellness. As Sai has always mentioned that wellness is most important, whether you are coming through allopathy, Ayurveda, or any other system, yoga, all of that. So wellness is very important because we want to have a happy and healthy life. Now, whenever there is a disruption in happy and healthy life, whether it's a mental health issue or whether it's a physical health issue, we get concerned and we start with diagnostics. So the first aspect in healthcare starts with diagnostic. What is the problem? Why are we having this disruption in health and happy life, healthy and happy life? Once we know what is diagnostics, that leads to treatment. So now we look for, okay, now we know what is the problem, what is the solution for this problem? What we call this a typical healthcare, right? You diagnose and you treat. However, we are moving beyond that. New technologies are coming. What they are doing, they are going to augment our ability. They are going to provide us unique ability that we have not had. Think about a dog. Dog has a very high sense of smell. We don't have the same level of high sense of smell. Can we use technology to augment our ability to smell? Can we use our technology to augment our ability to have a good vision? Think about a surgeon doing a surgery, and surgeon has a very high X-ray vision. What changes can it make in life? What changes it can make in surgery? So this augmenting ability using technology is going to come into our life, and it's already there to some extent. Next part, which we all want to have, is a perpetuating life. How can we extend our life? Think about Elon Musk. He wants to live forever, right? So how this technology are helping us perpetuate life? Again, it's not for the sake of life. It's not being on a ventilator for many years, right? The idea is to have still happy and healthy life. What I call this part as a life care. So not just healthcare is important, but life care is also important. And that's where we have to think about technology helping us in all of those circles of care. So now let's look at what are those technologies that are coming our way. So what I call foundational technology, deep tech, I think you've been hearing a lot about deep tech lately, right? There is a RDI scheme by government which has providing fuel to create sustainable ecosystem in deep tech. Those are foundational technology. Those technologies that come through scientific breakthrough. And those scientific breakthrough that, for example, with AI, when we were testing and trying those neural nodes 30 years ago, have brought the world of AI today. So those scientific breakthroughs can take time, but it may take a long time. So we are familiar with AI. AI is maturing and is going to be in every aspect of our life. But there are many more technologies like robotics, nanotechnology, CRISPR, which is gene editing. And I'll look at some example as we go along. Big data, AR, VR, Internet of Things, quantum technology. So all of those foundational technology which are coming because of scientific breakthrough, and they are getting better and better at it. Those technologies are there. Another set of technology, what I call horizon technology. When you see the convergence of those foundational technology, they create horizon technology. One example, very relevant for us, is a cyborg technology, where basically you are combining robotics, you are combining artificial intelligence, you are combining CRISPR, gene editing, to create cyber technology. For example, locust. Locust has a very unique sense of smell. That's why they all come to your field and eat away your field. They smell. Now, if we can train a locust or create a cyborg locust, which can sense cancer tissue, which is just taking position in your body, you can have very, very early diagnostic of cancer. And when you have very early diagnostic of cancer, the interventions that you do will have very high rate of success. So those technologies are coming. Another example of cyborg technology that I can give you is pesticides that we use in the field. If you create a cyborg lizard, which can identify good insect and a bad insect, and eat only bad insect in your field, we can let all those lizards run around in your field. We don't need pesticides. Okay. So these technologies are coming, and there are many more of those. There are digital twins. There's a lot of things are happening in digital twin, because digital twin allow you to taste drug before drug is used in you. You have a heart, I have a heart, we all have heart, but our heart is unique, very different, because of the way it works, because of the way our lifestyle is. So the drug that they give you, a common drug for the heart disease, is not always the right drug or not appropriate drug. If we can create a precise drug for you based on tasting the drug on your digital heart before giving it to you, the idea of having side effects, the idea of having treatment that does not work will go away. So this kind of technologies are coming, ambient intelligence, precision medicine, DNA as a data storage. Think about data centers that we are building. Huge amount of investment, space, energy getting used in data centers. We all hear about that, right? Our DNA stores huge amount of data by itself. If you can figure out creating a synthetic DNA and how to store all those data in the DNA, then we can have a data center in a petri dish and taking very small amount of energy, because in entire day of our life, we use probably 2,000 calories a day. And still we are running, right? Brain is running, body is running, everything is running. And we may not be as good as computer in many things, but we are very good at more than better than computer in many other things. Why? Because we process all that data. And it's all happening through only use of 2,000 calories a day. So if we can figure out how we can store data in DNA, and which is basically happening already. I don't have time to walk through all of that, what is happening in different areas. But these are the technologies that are coming.
Yes, I would also intervene for a moment. They are all the new areas where India has an opportunity. AI game is to some extent lost, except the applications. The foundational thing has already happened. Okay? It requires huge investment Okay. But we're in the early stage, we have opportunity to innovate in every application on this side of the world, right? Basic foundational research has already been done. We can quickly get into the train and be ahead of many others, like Toyota often comes from behind and takes over. A lot of other people So each one of this creates an opportunity for us. And I think this is where we should be focusing on innovation, because it's still 8-10 years ahead of time. It's fun, and gazing into the future is most exciting thing.
Absolutely. So all of these are obviously going to affect the circles that we talked about earlier. So let's look at each one of these circles. Let's look at diagnostic. And I'm going to touch on what is happening. And I'm sure you are familiar with many of these things. For example, in diagnostic, early diagnosis of complex diseases, which we talked about earlier. Complex diseases like cancer, cardiovascular diseases, or neurodegenerative diseases, conditions in their pre-disease stage, if you can identify that using technology, whether it's a sensing technology or whether it's artificial intelligence, doing predictive technology, predictive analysis. So if we can identify those, we can significantly improve the chances of success. Other aspect is real-time monitoring of patient, which is where Sai's idea of having this stall foundation, extending that, the doctor could be sitting somewhere else, the nurses could be sitting somewhere else, but the patient can be at their home. But the patient are continuously monitored to ensure wherever there is a problem. A lot of time, the time between the patient has a problem and the time they get a treatment, if we can reduce that time by knowing when the patient is about to have a problem, immediately we can send 108, right? Not wait for somebody to call 108, but immediately we can send 108. And 108 people also knows what problem is happening before they get there. So those technologies are there.
So we have, just for interruption, sorry for it. I think we have an opportunity to do some policy innovation. Why can't medical surgeon from one country to the other freely not operate so long as global standards are met? So we need to work towards that. Then on a global basis, we can, render a lot of services, as Tal has been talking about. So I think we need to also see that how can we accelerate the process of cross-mobility of professionals, particularly medical professionals. It will be great boon to the world, and we can take lead in developing a policy for that purpose.
Absolutely. New technology that are coming because of quantum technology is quantum sensing. We use MRI, CT scan, all of those. And MRI, what it does, it takes the slices of your heart, right? And every slice is an image. Now with quantum, it can be 1,000 more or 10,000 more slices. Now when you have 10,000 more slices, whatever left between the slices can also be monitored. And if the cancer tissue happens to be there, it can be monitored. So quantum sensing technologies are going to also provide us a lot of information. And through that, we will reduce the chances of negative impact of radiation, heavy chemicals on biological tissues. Predictive analytics, we are all familiar with this, using the historical and real-time data to predict how the disease is going to progress, how the treatment is going to work. And this is very interesting because it's not predictive analysis for only your health, but it's also predicting how an epidemic is spreading. By knowing and predicting how the epidemic is dengue or other, for example, are spreading in which area, we can contain them only on those areas and avoid other people getting affected. So knowing the progress, we can reduce the load on public health infrastructure. Human digital twin. Digital twin is basically digital replica of your organ or your system or entire body. As I gave you example earlier about your heart, by having a digital twin of your kidney, of your heart, of your liver, you can test different drugs. You can see how it is going to degenerate over a period of time, and you can be better prepared for that ahead of time. Now let's look at treatment. This is all about the diagnosis. When you know that what is happening, you can predict this, and where you are progressing, you are diagnosing the problem. Next comes the treatment. In the treatment, individualized medicine. Again, example, precision medicine is becoming a big word and big interest of everybody else. All the pharmaceuticals are interested in. Of course, pharma model will change because the pricing currently based on doing a big R&D, creating a big blockbuster drug, and everybody using the same drug, right? Versus precision medicine, the medicine will be only for that individual. Of course, it may come from certain formulation, but the quantity of formulation, the frequency of how often you should take, all of that will come through precision medicine. Another interesting concept is not just the medicine itself, but the delivery of medicine. Why delivery is important? Right now, when we are taking chemotherapy, you take into entire body, which leads you to losing hair and all of those side effects. What if we can create chemotherapy which directly targets only the cancer tissue and not the rest of the body? So the delivery mechanism is also very, very important as the medicine itself. So there again, we can start using nanorobotics, right? Which can only get activated when it's in proximity to the tissue that we are targeting and not anywhere else. Remote real-time intervention, just like remote monitoring, we can have remote real-time intervention where insulin or whatever else is there needed or other drugs can be remotely provided and sometimes even automatically to the patient. Virtual health assistant, it's not only the patient gets medicine. Another important aspect is to educate the person, educate the patient, educate the caregiver. And doctors don't have time. Especially in US, you go to a doctor, they give you like 2 minutes. You ask questions and then, suddenly they'll give you answers and they'll walk away. So doctors don't have time. How are we going to, from where we are going to get answers? Which is where the virtual health assistants will come into play. And they will know your history. They will know your anxiety. They will know what you don't know. And accordingly, it will provide you the guidance based on your knowledge, based on your risk, based on your anxiety level. It can provide you guidance. And those are based on technology. Augmented reality in surgery. This is another very interesting concept. Right now, when surgeon is doing surgery is opening up. Let's say they're doing surgery on a heart. They open up the chest and they just see all the mess there, right? It's very messy. There's a blood, there is a noise, there's sweating, there's all those things are happening, right? Now, if we can help surgeons through augmented reality, where surgeon wears the glasses, and the glasses projects the CT scan on the organ itself and identifies where the nerves are, where the blood vessels are, and also identifies the tissue which needs to be worked on. It will be faster, it will be more accurate, it will have a less complexity, and surgeon will be able to focus on this, what needs to be done as opposed to what is around it. So if we can bring this type of technology and help surgeon, they can do their job better and the patients will get better outcome, right? Less complexity in the work. So augmented reality, we all have augmented reality right now, right? But one application is going to be a game changer in surgery will be this. Robotic surgery is already here. Da Vinci, intuitive surgery, surgicals have created robots. As a matter of fact, they're already in India. They're operating in India. Next would be autonomous hospital. And I'm not talking about everything will be autonomous, but certain aspect of hospital will be autonomous because one of the problem with hospitals is hospital-borne diseases, right? You go to hospital and you get infection because of it happens to be you are in hospital. If we can have robotics play a role, it can significantly reduce the hospital-borne infections. And this is reality, right? And those are small changes if we can make, huge change in healthcare. Now let's look at ability augmentation. Bionic limbs, which is where the limbs that you have can, let's say you lost a limb or you were born with that problem, you can have a bionic limb, which is basically combination of bionics, which is your body, as well as electronics and robotics. Another aspect is exoskeleton. Exoskeleton is very, very helpful. I can lift probably 30 pounds max. But if I have exoskeleton, it will allow me to lift 100 pounds. As a surgeon, you are operating, you have 12-hour operation going on. Think about time it will take, the energy it will take for them to go through this thing. What if you can use some kind of exoskeleton which helps surgeon maintain that, use less energy while they're working? And it's not just surgeon, old people. A lot of old people, many of us have problems where grandfather, grandparent slipped in a bathroom and had a hip surgery. And then it all went downhill after that, right? What if they are augmented by exoskeleton? They can be mobile. They don't need a wheelchair. They won't need somebody to hold their hand. They can have confidence. They can have their own quality of life. So not only for them, for many other applications where exoskeleton can help. Brain-computer interface, we all are talking about that. Neuralink and Elon Musk, where you implant chip into your brain, and then you can have the motor skill that you have lost by simulating that part of the brain or sending signal to your muscles. Augmented vision, very useful concept, especially for a lot of people who are getting older. One of the great benefit we have is touch. So technologies are coming which can help robots and others understand the sensing of touch through thermal waves, through motion, or advanced devices like robotic mechanism. Next, perpetuating life. How can we have longer, not just healthy life, but the longer healthy and happy life? And drug discovery, in huge area.
100 years, we think, what is death? We'll have to redefine the death.
Of course, that will create problem for lawyers because the entire concept of succession planning and estate planning will disappear. So drug discovery, lot of technology, machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, quantum simulation are all coming to help us. Today, it takes a long time to discover the effectiveness and efficacy and efficiency of a drug. We can significantly reduce this time and bring drug faster to the market. So that the patient who are waiting for that drug can benefit from it early on. It takes maybe 4 or 5 years before the drug can come to the market, although the benefits are known. So how can we use technology for drug discovery? Regenerative medicine, this is another big area, very useful area, using your genetics, stem cell research, all of those things are happening. If you know ahead of time that your family has a blood pressure as a history, as my family, and I got a blood pressure because of family history and maybe work. But if you know ahead of time that this is your history, and if you identify which part of your DNA or your genes triggers that, you can cut that part out and insert another DNA. And that can happen at the time of embryo formation, or it can happen later in the life too, because life proliferates. So if we can identify and create regenerative medicine, which means all the future generation will not have the same problem. Right? Somebody was telling me about Gotra system in India. Of course, I don't understand much, but the idea of Gotra system to avoid some of those problems related to that. So here we have regenerative medicine, which allows us to regenerate human cells, tissues, organs to restore the normal function. Okay. And CRISPR technology is already here. Bioprinting organs, again, technology is already here, already happening, taking the actual cells and using bio-inks to create 3D printed organs, which can replace the organ, and it has a high chance of your body adopting it because it's using your own DNA. Artificial skin, lot of patients have those issues, especially burn patients. We create artificial skin. A lot of patients with the skin diseases, we can create artificial skin. And it's very, very tough. If you have skin disease, it's very tough. It takes many, many months.
Yeah, in fact, I was talking to Tim and we're discussing this particular subject. And he said he is invested in artificial womb. So it is really happening now. And each one of this technology, I think we can spend a day or whatever. But there's a great opportunity for India to contribute to these spaces.
So the idea here is that can we create a home out of body? Where basically what we are trying to do is reduce the issues related to pregnancy and the surrogacy and all those issues, prenatal abortion, miscarriage, all of those issues which will improve the health of the child, but also significantly improve the health of women, mother. Genetic time reversal. Now we are really going into the sci-fi side. How can we affect our telomeres so that we can change the time it takes for us to die and just reverse it in some manner? Cryopreservation and revival. Again, if we can cryopreserve sperms and eggs, why can't we cryopreserve our organs? Why can't we cryopreserve our entire body at some point of time? So after 100 years, again, we can wake up. And the last thing is AI design new life form. Using synthetic biology, using the DNA that I talked about, using CRISPR technology, we create an artificial form of life for specific purposes, right? And those purposes can be of any type. It can be helping cure certain diseases, tackle resistance to antibiotic, clean up hazardous sites, produce chemicals and fuels, and even enhance food security by creating an artificial life, which is designed to do only certain things. Now, there are a lot of legal, regulatory, ethical, social, environmental issues associated with that, and that's where we come in as a law firm. We study this technology, we study the applications of this technology, we think about law, and help shape the future of law. And that's why we are studying this. We are simple a law firm, but we want to see what technologies are coming, how our clients are going to use those technology, and what kind of issues they will create so we can have a law, regulation geared towards those applications and help our client flourish. So thank you so much.